Good morning, Monday, October 3rd. This is going to be an hour of some underwhelming material for some of you, but some overwhelming material for everybody at some point. One of Wayne's World 10 Commandments of Wealth Building is credit, power tool in a consumer workshop, i.e., use other people's money. So I'm going to be focusing quite a bit on ideas, tips, techniques, things that I feel work, I know other people have done and worked, and things I use on a regular basis to let somebody else's money be used by me so I don't have to use my own money. I can invest it, I can spend it, I can save it, I can do what I want. But before we begin, just a reminder from last week's session on inflation. As of October 1st, everybody listening to this presentation through the month of October can buy a I-bond through the treasury.gov website for up to $10,000 that is guaranteeing 9.62% for the next 6 months. You will not find any safer investment, and even some not so safe investments, that can guarantee you 9.62% for the next 6 months. You then will have to roll it over for another 6 months at whatever the rate is then. But based on what I've heard, and I'm sure you have heard, we are in inflation for a while. I don't anticipate anything major happening for at least a year and a half. I'm looking at 18 months before we're getting close to where we were, and we will never get back down, in my mind. I say never, rather specifically, to a 2% increase in interest rates. I think those loans have reached their pinnacle, and if you had one, you're lucky. If we get down to 4, maybe 3, fine, but we do have a long haul before things happen. The Fed's got 2 more raises. That could be an issue. So here we go. Why not take $10,000, even if you had to borrow it from a balance transfer, i.e. credit card, borrow at 3% or 2% balance transfer fee, invest at 9.62%. Wow. It's like you're going to make quite a bit with no risk at all. And you're building your credit rating up while you pay back a minimum payment every month for the next 6 months. And if you get it for a year or more, you remember from several weeks ago, we had a credit card through Wells Fargo, 21 months, 0% interest. No brainer. So leave that aside. A remember, if you weren't here last week, then take a moment, look at treasury.gov. You can't buy these at a bank. You got to go directly to the Treasury Department. You got to hold them for a year. And even if we got down to 1% inflation rate for the next 6 months, averaging a 9.62 and a 1 doesn't put you over 5% guaranteed. I-bonds. They're called inflation bonds. Nice pictures of people on them. I think the one I bought was Albert Einstein. Anyway, with that said, credit. Oftentimes misused, abused, but like any power tool, if it's used correctly, it becomes a tremendous asset in making your world better. Look at your tool shed. Look at your kitchen. Look at your remote controls. Look at your power tools in life. What have they done to make life easier? The staple gun. You can put staples in roofs, staples in walls in a matter of seconds. The nail gun. But gosh, if you use those the wrong way, there's many a picture of many a person who's got a nail in their hand or their arm, or they ruined something. The power washer we use to clean our decks in our stairs outside, in our houses. Many, many people have broken glass windows, broke some pottery, damaged some paint because they didn't know how to use the power tool. So we will spend our time today, hopefully, giving you some ideas on safe ways to use a power tool. And just as you need safety goggles when you use a power tool, you need safety glasses to understand what you have to see to make sure you don't get taken advantage of. Here's where we're going. We'll take a look at credit. As I said, this might be underwhelming to some of you. Your credit scores, the fact that you have 3 FICO scores, the fact that you should be using them in a leapfrog method to find out what the 3 credit bureaus say on a regular basis. So every 4 months, you have the most updated credit report for one of the 3 major credit bureaus used in the FICO score. And we'll talk about FICO. Some of you know what FICO stands for. Some of you will learn for the first time. But above all, let's use credit for good debt. Let's use credit to make money. Let's use credit in a way that it becomes an asset, not a liability. And with the myriad of credit cards and the continuous, I would say, barrage and bombardment from all kinds of banks and credit card companies, once you build a profile in the computer across the country, they want you to take out their card, their card, their card. At the maximum, I had 202 credit cards. I'm slowly letting them go because I don't need them. My most recent one is PNC Bank. I got a letter saying I haven't used my card in a year. If I use it by the end of October and buy anything on credit, they will extend it. Otherwise, they're going to close the account. I don't need the PNC credit card anymore. So I'm slowly easing mine out. Hopefully for you, you'll be slowly building yours up. Because as you well know from previous thoughts in Wayne's world, or just in your own world of buying investment real estate, other people's money is the way to go. 100% financing makes the most sense because you borrow as much as you can and you pay it off as fast as you can. And that's the same theory using credit card. And we'll talk about some credit programs, whether they're good, bad, or ugly, the credit repair programs and credit consolidation programs, just as the thought as we go through the day today in the process. So that's kind of where we're going. And if I miss something, I'll try to catch up with it in future sessions. But I think this is a good overview for some people, and it's overwhelming, or it's somewhat of an underwhelming. I know this, and I just reminded you. But I cannot believe in 1 hour you won't have at least 3 things you never were aware of. For example, I'm going to use the word leapfrogging. Do you know how to use credit cards to leapfrog? Do you know how to use credit cards with balance transfers to keep a balance over the years by just going through different balance transfer cards? This is why I have a lot of cards. I got an Excel spreadsheet. They're laid out so I know the billing date of each one. So here we are today. It's October 3rd. If I needed to buy something for an apartment, something personal, maybe a new refrigerator, whatever it is, I would use a credit card. And I would use a credit card, as you may well guess, that gives me the most benefits. Some of you want miles. Some of you want money. Some of you want other kinds of travel, gifts, etc. So pick your cards for what you use. And many companies, you get up to 5% on specific things you identify over the entire card, versus a Discover card that every quarter you have to look at what you get 5% on, but it's limited to only $1,500 worth of purchases. But it's better than nothing. That's $75 in your pocket. So I'm not recommending credit cards. I have a lot of them. The ones I don't like, I don't apply for. The ones I do like, I keep or slowly ease out of. So I'm still doing fine. And hopefully you will too. Now, just one simple beginning thought process. 5 to 7 million people are financially overextended. They have put a credit card to use in a way because they couldn't delay instant gratification, and now they have a bill that they cannot pay in full every month. The first technique, tip, and track with credit cards is never, ever carry a balance. Once you don't pay in full, you immediately are buying everything on that card at an exorbitant rate of interest. Some people in the high 20%, some people in the low 30% APRs, annual percentage rates. So with that said, That means if I only have one card and I can't pay it off in full by using another card's balance transfer, or couldn't get enough money saved or extra hours at work, I'm going to pay interest on everything. The moment I don't pay a credit card in full that month, the very next purchase, if I go to the gas station and get $10 worth of gas, which is what, 2 gallons now, maybe 2.5. If I fill up for $100, which is not uncommon these days, immediately that $100 purchase is costing me whatever the annual percentage rate is. It could be 26, 29, whatever the number is. People realize it's too easy because one of the reasons people don't build wealth is they can't lay instant gratification. I'm sitting here with a credit card statement. I'm not embarrassed to show it to you or tell you about it. It's with a great company. Number one, I get 2% back on everything I buy all the time at least. And sometimes I can get more. So I use it a lot for building supplies and in some large purchases. Now this one just came and it's due on October 8th. I pay in full every month. This last month, the last 30 days or so, or 45 days, I've had to charge some carpets, some appliances. I'm rehabbing a 2-unit in a college town. I had to pay a contractor for his work. I had my own personal purchases. So my current balance I owe them by October 8th is $11,718.20. Now, if I don't have that, and I don't want to start paying interest, I can maybe use a balance transfer card or two and put that on for 5, 10, 15, 20, 21 months at 0% with a small balance transfer fee of 2 or 3%. Although some companies are edging into the 4% most recently. But here's the catch. By law, about a decade ago, credit card companies had to tell you how long it will take you to pay off that $11,718.20 if you never use that card again. You stop using it and just make the minimum payment. So as of October 8th, if I have no money and I can scrape up $117, they're happy. In fact, they're elated because now immediately the balance of about $11,600 is going to be able to be charged at some ungodly interest rate they don't even want to look at. But let's forget that for a moment. Here's what it says. If I make an extra $125 a month payment, so I pay them $232, it will take me 3 years to pay off this debt. Now, that's not bad. I could live with that if I had to buy something for $11,708 and had other credit cards to use. But here's the scary part. If I just continue to pay $117 a month and never use this card until I get the balance down to 0, it says I will pay off this card in 59 years. Years, not months, 59 years. It's 2022. In 2079, I'd finally have this balance down to 0. Can you see the problem? Can you see the problem if I only have one card and I got to use it? I'm just adding more and more. And as I keep making the minimum payments, they'll keep offering me better plans, might even offer me a credit line increase because I look good in the computer. I'm paying as agreed. The 3 magic words in any credit report, any credit card says paid as agreed, paid as agreed. I could pay $117 for the next 59 years, and they'd be the happiest people in the world. I will have paid them nearly $35,000 worth of interest on an $11,000 plus charge for items I needed. So again, we're starting out this conversation with, I cannot function and build wealth with just a few credit cards. The more credit cards I have, and this is controversial, but take a moment to reflect, the bigger I look to be a lesser risk if I don't use them a lot. See, if I have 2 credit cards with $5,000 each as a credit limit, and I have $5,000 in debt, I'm 50% utilized in the computers. But if I get 2 more $5,000 credit cards from some offers or I apply, Now I have $20,000 worth of potential credit and still have $5,000 in debt. I'm only 25% utilized. I'm looking good because I could borrow more. If I get 2 more credit cards and 2 more credit cards, and I have 10 credit cards at $5,000 apiece, now I have $50,000 of potential credit. I owe $5,000. I'm only 10% utilized. That's what looks good in the computer. Now I know there's other thoughts about that, but as a power tool, that is good if it's used properly. So, number one, you got to pay in full. I'm not going to live 59 years. There's no way. I couldn't pay this off. I'd have to be buried upside down so Visa would be looking for me. Just a thought. Just a thought. So, what is credit? It's very simple. You're getting something now and paying for it later. The problem is, you know what it is, $117 a month for 59 years says, we're happy you charged $11,000 and bought some carpet and bought some appliances and bought some flooring and bought some paint and had hired a contractor and cleaned up the yard, ... And the beauty of this is, as I speak to you last night, I have an offer on that property to sell, and I have several showings today. As we sit here today, so it was completed, I'm guessing 2 weeks ago. It's now sitting here with an offer. That's the fun of being a real estate investor. And in Wayne's world, it's the ideal investment. Many of you have heard this before, but you cannot underestimate the power of owning investment real estate. So I got to use credit. My first property was a 12% installment land contract because I had no money and didn't qualify at a bank. The owner of the property financed at 12%. That's how I could buy it. My tenants were housing choice vouchers. My rent covered the mortgage payment and a second mortgage that I needed for the down payment. And it went on from there. But that's another whole story. So basically, you know what this is. It's convenient. You swipe, you go. Now you go into an app on the way driving home and stop at a fast food restaurant, and you pull up, give them your code, you pick up the food. There's usually sales and benefits by using the app. If I go pull up to a McDonald's today and just order 2 quarter pounders with cheese and don't use my app, I can use my credit card, but I'll pay twice as much because every single day in my McDonald's app, and Burger King has them, and Wendy's has them, and Chipotle has them, and every restaurant has them. It's buy one, get one free. By using the app, credit card stored, don't even pull it out of my wallet, pull up, give them my code. I go, you've done this. If you haven't done this, the convenience of credit is unbelievable, just unbelievable. Great for emergencies. You don't have enough set aside to buy that furnace that just went out as you're getting ready for winter. Put it on a credit card. And we'll show you how to leapfrog and use that credit card money for up to 60 days at 0% interest so you can find some way to pay that off. I just picked up a rental vehicle that I need to use to haul some things around. I had to give them a $50 deposit. Put it on the credit card. I can buy expensive items sooner. I don't have to wait till I have the cash. In fact, think about this. How many homes would we be selling every year if there were no mortgage loans, if there was no financing, which is credit? If we had to wait till everybody had all the money in cash to pay in full, you think the housing market's bad now? You think maybe you didn't reach your goal this year? Wow. Look at that as a problem. And the disadvantages is if you don't pay it off in full, you pay interest. But see, if you pay it off in full, that's not a disadvantage. There's no additional fees unless you choose to pay for a card that gives you some flight benefits or some other things you use. Some people like an airline credit card because they get access to a club, but it costs $50, $80, $90, $100. But the key problem is because we as consumers cannot delay instant gratification, it's very tempting to overspend. And it creates large amount of debt, as we just saw. That study that was put out at the beginning of my first slide. And you do have to worry about identity theft, but you know what? Every single card says you are not responsible for any debts that you did not incur. If somebody took your identity, if somebody stole your card, and I could tell you stories of mine with so many cards, I've had many situations. So Wayne, the Wealth Whisperer, Wayne's World has never had a debit card. I've never used an ATM in my life. If I need $50 or $100, I'm not going to go to an ATM machine and maybe pay a fee. Maybe it's waived, but either way, I go to a grocery store. I can buy something for $2 at Jewel, Mariano's, Butera, whatever stores are in your marketplace, and they give me $100 on change. And as long as I pay that next month in full, I got my money right away and didn't cost me a penny, no fees. So I'm in a grocery store a lot anyway. So I don't worry about identity theft. I'm careful. I've got my things I block, but again, the way I've avoided identity theft, and you may say that's not a great idea. I need my debit card. I do not believe you have to function with a debit card with all the opportunities today. That's Wayne's World saying it to you as a wealth whisperer. I've never owned one. I don't feel I've been slighted. There's ways to get cash if I need cash, but who's using cash these days? There's very few things we have to pay in cash. So pretty much simplistic, nothing maybe earth-shattering, just a couple of thoughts on that process. But see, useful for emergencies. That's the beauty of, if my furnace just went out today and they said it's going to be $3,000, I don't have $3,000. Do I go without heat? No. I pull my credit card out and I put on the credit card. Now, as I said, this one is due on October 8th. If I use this credit card to buy a $3,000 furnace today, and I paid this bill by October 8th of 11/7/18, I would have a $3,000 charge that would be due on November 8th, no interest, because I paid this in full by October 8th. So I'd have about a month to come up with the $3,000 for this unexpected emergency, a new furnace. But if I had a credit card or multiple credit cards, and one of them had a billing date of October 2nd, guess what I'm doing? I'm giving that HVAC contractor the credit card to charge $3,000 on that just had a closing date of October 2nd. Today is October 3rd. That means all the activity on that card from September 2nd to October 2nd is going to be sent as a bill to me, need to be paid by November 2nd. I got 1 month to pay in full. But because I used a card that had a billing date of the 2nd, that $3,000 goes on the card that will have a payment due November 2nd. I'll get the bill for the first time. On November 2nd, the credit card company says, oh, you charged $3,000 on October 3rd. You have to pay us by December 3rd, or 2nd, December 2nd, or you're going to owe interest if you don't pay in full. Look what I just did. I bought something on October 3rd. I'm using somebody else's money until December 2nd at no cost. Zero, zilch, nada if I had no balance on that card. People, think about that. I've got 60 days to figure out, how do I come up with $3,000? Do I borrow from relatives? Do I put some stuff on eBay? Do I take a second job? Do I work overtime? Do I work my butt off to get a couple of new listings and price them right so there's closing before then? What am I going to do? But I got 60 days to figure out how to handle a potentially $3,000 debt. And if by chance I don't have that by December, I'm going to look for a balance transfer. So I need $3,000, and the balance transfer from ABC Bank is at 3%. So now I got another 12, 15, 18 months for $90 to come up with paying off $3,000. If you can't follow that leapfrog method, maybe we should do it again, but I assume you can. All I'm saying is you always want to charge emergency purchases on the credit card that just passed the date you're buying the stuff. See, if I would charge that $3,000 on a card that closed on the 6th of October, then I only have till November 6th. I just need that extra free time. And by leapfrogging and taking the closest credit card to the date I buy that just passed, I'm going to get close to 60 days to use other people's money at no cost. That to me is worth our entire time today. If you learn nothing else, if there's nothing new, the leapfrog method that Wayne's World suggests strongly should save you thousands, or at least give you some control over those tough emergency situations, car repairs, some emergency, medical, whatever it might be. So I don't think there's anything new here, but I think the leapfrog method is something you got to think seriously about, but it's hard to do. See, I have a credit card for every day of a month. I've got 31 cards. I got more than 31, but 31 of my cards each have a billing date of a day of the month. So if I have to buy something on the 15th for $5,000, I'll use a card from the 14th or the 13th. So I've got till December 14th or 13th to pay that big chunk of money back. I'm using other people's money. And I just think, well, I don't think, I know that's one of my 10 commandments of wealth building. That's exactly what we do. So that being said, credit scores, FICO, Fair Isaac Company. That is the acronym for a FICO score, Fair Isaac Company. You can go online, myfico.com, look at all the material, you can get your credit scores, but your credit is between 3 and 850, but here's the catch. There are 3 credit reporting bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. There's actually another one that's starting to pop up, but those are the big 3. And as you've been helping buyers buy homes and talk to lenders, you know that some lenders average the 3, some use one over the other. Some people give you that score. Whatever the case is, you do have 3 FICO scores. We know that. And in most cases, the majority of people who look at their credit report find there's a flaw in it someplace. There's a mistake. I actually have a negative on my credit card because I didn't pay a balance on a home equity line of credit I was using. I paid it in full and didn't want to close it. So obviously I gave them enough money that I thought would pay for the interest because it's always a month behind, and I was a penny short. People, I've got the letter here. It's almost a farce. They asked me if I need credit counseling. I need some help in making my payments because I got a problem. I owe a penny. And that bank reported it automatically by a computer that I was a delinquent. I owe them a penny. 1 cent. I got letters that I'm in credit counseling. Don't worry, we can help you. Call us. We can consolidate your bill. You can have monthly payments. How do I have monthly payments on a penny? See, FICO's got some issues. You know, it might, in some people's minds, been entitled UFICO, Unfair Isaac Company, because there's a lot of mistakes in the credit. So let's solve that problem by doing something many of you might be doing, and that is understand how in the mix of the credit. Now, obviously, new credit applications keep dinging you. So I don't apply for credit cards. I accept their offers for credit cards. I accept their cards for credit cards so that they are not dinging me with some bad credit issue in the process. With that said, that's all I can do. Excuse me. With that said, I do want to mix a credit, my credit history, and the amount of credit. See, the amount of money you owe. If I pay in full every month, that's the key. If I pay in full every month, that's the key. Because I have a lot of credit, potential usage, but I have no balance once I pay the bill in full. Or if I keep a bill and I got $50,000 worth of credit lines from 10 cards and only $5,000 in debt, I'm looking at only 10%, my utilization factor. And the lower the utilization factor, the more credit you'll be offered and the better you look in the FICO scoring model. That's the makeup. So here's the thought process that we have to take a serious look at as we look at this right now. You must, every 4 months, find out what that score is at each of the credit reporting bureaus. So whatever you see online, whatever you hear from these companies that will give you free credit reports, there might be loopholes. The only place you can go is www.annualcreditreport.com. That's the one authorized by the federal government. They will then link you to any one of the 3 credit bureaus to get that FICO score. If you want Experian first, TransUnion next, Equifax third, that's fine. Any order, doesn't make a difference. Now, in the Midwest, TransUnion is a predominant force. That's the credit card company owned by the Pritzker family, who own Hyatt hotels. So most of you that are in the Midwest, a lot of your data in a credit system is in TransUnion. Somebody else on a different coast, maybe be getting more Experian, or if you buy a lot of things from California or Texas or Florida, you might be in a different system. Not every credit bureau has the exact same data. That's why the scores are different. So just take your calendar and mark it down. Every 4 months, I'm going to go to annualcreditreport.com and I'm going to ask for a credit report. So it's October. I call Experian online, say, give me my credit report. They do it online. You can appeal online. You can look at things. You can download and save the PDF. It's all done online. October, November, December, January. Now you go to TransUnion. 4 months, February, March, April, May. Then you go to the third one, Equifax. And what's happening is then every 4 months for the rest of your life, you're getting a full credit report from one of the 3 credit bureaus. They're pretty similar, but they're a little off. You'll start to see. Versus getting them all at once and you know nothing for the next year. Just as you leapfrog for 2 months to save billing dates and get an extra 30 plus days to pay your bills in full, now we're saying leapfrog to a new credit report once every 4 months from one credit bureau, because you're allowed one report from each of the 3 every year. So every 4 months, the cycle turns over. Next October of 2023, you're back to getting that one you got a year ago. 4 months later, that one. I call that another leapfrogging approach. 2 different ways to leapfrog. One to find out your FICO score, one to get an extra 30 days or more in paying a bill in full and using other people's money. These are the numbers. I don't get hung up as much on these numbers as a lot of people do. If you have enough credit cards and enough credit paid as agreed, you'll keep getting credit cards. I don't have the highest credit card score. Believe me, I'm not near the 801s. I'm near the 750 ones. I'm somewhere in the middle. Yet I still get offers for credit cards. I still have, I think, 180 some left because I look good in the computer. Paid as agreed, paid as agreed, paid as agreed. I owe this, but I got that much credit available. That's what they're looking for. And I've done this for a lifetime, so it's not like some brand new idea I just made up or thought about. It works. But here's the number of people. It's great if you have a high credit score above 800. I think that's beautiful. But I think it's more important to have more options for credit than one card with an 800 credit score. I'd rather have 10 cards with 650s. Because all the credit cards are the same. There's not one gas pump when you put the cards, oh no, can't use that card. Your FICO score is too low. You don't get any discounts if you're 800 at the stores or at the restaurants. The card is the card. So the card you use has to be, must be, should be based on the benefit you get from that card. I have a Costco card. I rarely buy anything at Costco. Rarely buy anything at Costco. But why do I have a Costco card? Because when I go to my favorite gas station, which is top tier gasoline, and that's another story too. Some gasoline stations don't have top tier gasoline, so their additives are different. I know by using that Costco card at that Shell station or that mobile station, I'm going to get 4% back as a rebate from Costco. Because Costco says wherever you buy your gas, we'll give you 4% back. So if gas is down to $4 a gallon, that's 16 cents off at the Shell gas station or the mobile gas station. And almost always I find stations that are much less than Costco. Plus at a Shell station, I can use a fuel rewards card to get from 3 cents to 10 cents every time I fill up. Now that's another whole strategy on don't lose money, because my gas prices are extremely low because of the Costco card and the Shell rebate, which is the best one out there with fuel rewards. Now, some people use a Thornton card or a Speedway card or a BP card, whatever your preference is. Just make sure you're getting top tier 1 gasoline. That's best for your car, because your car does know. So again, your credit report is your resume. It says what you do, how you do it, and do you pay as agreed. The magic words to get more credit and to keep the credit you have and increasing your credit scores is every single credit card, every single month says paid as agreed, paid as agreed, paid as agreed. The problem is, yes, $117 will look good for the next 59 years, paid as agreed, but it's costing me $34,000 in interest on $11,000 purchase, providing I do no more charges on that card. Again, you can check your credit score for free up to 3 times annually, as I said, with each of the bureaus. So every 4 months, don't do them all at once. Don't run and leave here and go on all and get 3 reports today. Every 4 months, get a report. You'll be fine. Annualcreditreport.com, a government website. The only way to get a FICO credit report from a specific credit bureau: Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. And here's the idea: buy now, pay later. I needed the stuff, I don't have to pay for it. Heck, the buildings could be falling down or sold and I'd still be owing money on them. And again, it's a good concept for some type of purchases. Again, if I got a great deal on something, my credit card might save me thousands of dollars. Now, cash is king in many people's marketplace, but credit still is a power tool in a consumer workshop if you use it properly. So, some good credit purchases. My God, how could I not make this number one? Using other people's money to buy a house or buy an investment property is allowing you to get appreciation on a small investment. Do some of the math. Take an investment real estate seminar from somebody. Because I know what I preach that works is if I had $100,000 that I inherited today, I could buy a $100,000 condo. Or I could buy 10 condos with $10,000 down. Now I have $1 million worth of real estate value. Yes, I have some loans, but if inflation goes up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% as we're at, a year from now, one condo paid in full is worth $108,000. 10 condos paid in full give me an $80,000 profit. But I do have some loans, but there's a tax benefits. The bottom line is you're going to get equity through appreciation and making monthly payments. Financing education is an interesting concept. But the bottom line is some people waste that. They take a lot of loans out and then don't even finish school or get a career path they don't like, and all they were trained for, they get retrained. We see many people in pre-licensing classes that had this 4-year degree and this, that, these, and those, and they can't get a job or don't like a job, and they're going to want to come into real estate. They would have saved thousands. Buying a car could be a good credit purchase if you're buying a car that is not brand new. That's why we have certified pre-owns. That's why we have things that are still under warranty. Every car I buy is not brand new. It's got a long warranty on it, or I add a 7-year warranty to it. That means I can sell it for more later, and I have no downside. I didn't lose all that depreciation. My cars are, quote, new, but they're not titled new. Big difference. That's another whole seminar. So just a couple of ideas there, just to get you thinking about some ways to use credit wisely. Again, the leapfrog method to me is the best. I'm getting to use somebody else's money for up to 60 days before I got to pay it in full with no interest. And paying every bill in full with every credit card. That's why you might need 2 or 3 credit cards. Because I have to buy, all of a sudden I bought this furnace for $3,000, and then next week my car breaks down and I got $1,000 charge on that. Well, can I put that on another card? And I've got 60 days to pay that one off. And if I don't pay one off, at least I'm only down to $1,000 balance. You got to understand the power of numbers. Compound interest is the seventh, eighth wonder of the world. The problem is it goes the wrong way by charging you thousands like this to the right way of using it to make money. Once again, 9.62% for 6 months guaranteed in an I bond. If I had to borrow the $10,000, I'd still make money unless I'm paying more than 10% for the money. Bad credit, bad debt, buying things for instant gratification. The numbers are scary. The numbers are scary. 26, 24, 28, 33% interest. And boy, what have we got into? Many of you may remember when, if you took a 3-year car loan out, people say, you crazy? You borrowed for 3 years? Now we're giving people 6, 7-year car loans on used cars. The car will be totally not drivable in 7 years because it's already 6 years old and you're still paying on it. So financing a car has become an issue. And even in our whole world of housing, we have FHA loans for 40 years. We have some lenders willing to give you a 50-year residential mortgage. It's almost like a guaranteed rent. You're hardly ever paying any principal down, but you got low monthly payments. Great concept. Again, they're a power tool. Just as a power tool in the kitchen, you know, how many people don't set the microwave right and they burn something up, or they start a fire because there's metal in there, they forgot when they reheated that pan. They didn't use the thing properly. Some people burn the toast. They set it too high and never checked. Some people overcook something. It dries out in the oven. They don't have a meat thermometer. Why you would cook in an oven with a meat thermometer blows my mind. I cook on the grill with a meat thermometer because many times I've given people that wanted a medium rare hamburger a well-done hamburger. So credit card, power tool in a consumer workshop. With that said, let's kind of wind this down with a few more thoughts that might make some sense. They're not extra money. In fact, some people suggest strongly, as you're starting out your world, you make envelopes. And every time you put a tank of gas on the credit card, you take that $50, $70, $80 and put it in an envelope. So when the bill comes, you got it. And there are actually some financial planners, I just saw one on TV, that suggest that you have multiple credit cards and use them for specific things. I only use my Costco card for gas and Costco, nothing else. I use my Chase card for my insurance payments. I use my other card for my utility payments. So you've got actually little folders by credit cards of bills. So at the end of the year, my Chase card shows all my utility payments. All my expenses for gasoline go on that card. That's a little interesting, but the bottom line is if it helps you, that's fine. I mean, Excel spreadsheets have been my salvation since I've been playing this credit card game because I can quickly see my billing dates. Everything is set up nicely. Read the fine print. There could be all kinds of extra fees if you're late. There could be other charges. There could be an annual fee that you didn't think was going to be there. We're coming into the holiday season. It looks like we're selling Christmas already. There's going to be loads of stores, department stores, warehouses offering you 10% off if you use their credit card. Target does it. Kohl's does it. Once you do that, one, you've dinged your credit, and two, you may never use that card for anything else. Was it really worth saving 10%? Again, we carry a lot of debt. And our millennials carry quite a bit of it, as is a per person. And so you're just paying off $57.81 minimum would take 11 years and 4 months at 13%, and 13% is low. We could do numbers all day. So there's a bunch of websites. You don't need to worry about these as much as annualcreditreport.com, myfico.com, and then just start searching credit cards. You can do a Google search for the best credit cards that are out there in the process. You can do a lot of different ways to make things happen. So let's take a look at what we really accomplished today. I just wanted to remind you that if you use this piece of plastic as a power tool and use it by knowing the rules, pay in full, have multiple cards, use the previous day's billing date for large purchases, or maybe any purchases, take advantage of balance transfers. And again, the longest I've seen now is 21 months at 0% interest for 3%. So for $20,000, I got to pay $600 up front for 21 months. People, that is pennies a day to control $20,000 a month. That could be the down payment on a property. None of my money in this investment. 80% loan, 20% from my $20,000. Buying a $100,000 condo or a $100,000 house, whatever the case might be. But again, there's many other ways in which credit does work. The leapfrog method of the 3 credit reports and other factors. Now, with that said, you do need to realize that there are times when credit has an upcharge to it. Right now, we're seeing a lot of restaurants automatically adding a credit card fee. I went out to a restaurant over the weekend, and the bill came, and automatically they added a 4% charge by using a credit card. So if I just hand them the card, there's 4% already on the bill. If I hand them cash, the 4% comes off. Well, if I'm only getting 2% on my card, I'm not going to pay 4%. But if I'm at a card like Bank of America that gives me 5% on restaurants, I'll still make 1%. I'll pay 4 and I'll make 1. And I'll get a good credit report. So we have come to now buy gas in cash ways because some stores, some businesses are using this COVID crisis inflation I talked about last week as a way to increase their fees. And it's automatically built in. You have to read the fine print on your bill. I think I had a total of $13 I would have spent more if I would have used my credit card and not checked my bill at the restaurant I was at Saturday night with some friends. So doesn't always make sense to use it because companies, gas stations even have 2 prices now, with cash and with credit card. So maybe you've got to find some ways to look at the options there and just bite the bullet, or find a credit card that gives you 5% on that kind of a purchase. Maybe it's dining because that's your biggie. Maybe it's gasoline because that's your biggie. Maybe it's department stores because that's your biggie. Even Discover. Discover has its quarterly ways that they offer. One quarter might be Amazon purchase. It might be PayPal. It might be Groupon. It might be all grocery stores. So you got to reusing some credit cards. But if you don't have all those credit cards available to you, you can't pick things out. See, it's almost always I have an offer from some card to buy something some way and avoid interest on those purchases. Could be for a year. That's good. So read the fine print and look at what your buying patterns are and what cards best work for you. And then, in my mind, accumulate as many as you can to increase your ratio. Pay them in full every month. Make sure that the rebates are best for you. Are miles better than dollars? Is one airline card better than another airline card? Yes, they are. If you don't fly that airline, though, it doesn't make any difference. But again, I'm close enough to O'Hare Airport in Chicago where pretty much every airline's credit card I can use to fly their airlines out and make some money. But once again, a lot of people do not know Costco says it's 4% off for gas. It doesn't say just at Costco stations. So I can count on one hand the number of times in the last 2 years I bought gas at a Costco store and use a Costco card. But I always, almost always, there's a few exceptions. For example, if I go to one station near me that only takes Discover card, I have no choice. But if I go to another station, I can use my Costco card and get that back. So I leave you thinking very seriously about what and how are you using your power tool and how many power tools do you have? See, just like how many kitchen appliances do you have? Do you have a toaster oven and a convection oven and a microwave oven? Are they all in one? What's the advantage of that? Can you imagine if your microwave goes out in your convection regular oven? Is it worth fixing? Is it worth keeping? A lot of people have these big appliances with a lot of things on them, and some stuff doesn't work, and it's not worth replacing the whole thing, and they can't fix the microwave, or they can't fix the convection thing, or it's too costly. So sometimes it's better to have multiple cards, like it's better to have multiple appliances. Do I need a juicer and a Ninja blender? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Do I need those cards and those cards? Yes, I believe you do. There's cards for everybody, for everything. Even some store cards will give you better benefits using the company credit card. I think Target's 5% all the time. Well, if I shop a lot at Target, that'd be a good one to have. If I don't shop at Target, I don't need a Target card. If I shop periodically, I don't need that. So we have a lot of programs and more than you need. So leave here realizing it is a power tool. Leave here realizing it is a way for you to use other people's money. And in the real estate world, it's a great way, if you have enough cards, to buy a large amount of the money and pay it off that way. See, if I borrow $5,000 off 5 cards to use for a real estate purchase, I got $25,000 in debt. Instead of adding $25,000 to the loan, see, once I get a loan for 30 years or 15 years, no matter how I pay it, I still make the same monthly payment. But if I have 5 of those cards at $5,000 each, once I pay that one card down, now I only have 4 cards I got to pay a monthly payment to. I'm changing my monthly outlay of cash by using multiple credit cards or multiple first, second, and third mortgages. Too complex? Go online and Google some of this. This is not something the Wealth Whisperer totally created. I learned some of this, but I then perfected it. I think I mentioned weeks ago in one of the sessions of the HELOC credit card now, Avon. You get a credit card to use as a HELOC, and that's another whole new world I may have to come back and redo again for some of you. So we got a lot to do, but you've got a lot you can put away today. But there's no excuse why you're not leapfrogging and taking 60 days of 0% interest on things you buy, or using the 3 credit bureau reports once every 4 months. With that said, I think I've reached the place where you're probably done listening, so I shouldn't be talking. But there is a life values quiz at a website called smartaboutmoney.org. It's a great website, smartaboutmoney.org. Do yourself a favor. They have several other quizzes too. This would be a good one. It helps you educate your thought process and how you spend your money. And in your own mind, just send me an email or a text message saying, I took it, here's what I found out, or just take it and keep it to yourself. But above all, take a moment and see how smart you are about money. You might be shocked. No, I'm sure you will be shocked in that process. My friends, it's a great week ahead at Win Inc. We've got some tremendous programs with tremendous speakers. 2 more great ones today. And the rest of the week, enjoy everybody sharing their ideas and their way of doing business that makes sense to you. With that said, I appreciate your time and your willingness to learn how to make sure you do have a power tool